Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for Texoma Strong Battling COVID-19. I'm Daryl Franklin. It's been 4 months now since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a public health emergency. In that time, more than 90,000 Americans have died. We're in the midst of the largest global recession since the Great Depression, and the efforts to stop the spread of the virus have caused political, cultural, social implications. But tonight, we're going to focus on how COVID-19 has shaped our lives right here in Texoma. And we start with Shatanya Clark with a timeline of the virus's lasting effect.
Daryl, for more than 2 months, the lives of Texomans have changed dramatically, and it goes beyond the social distancing and stay-at-home orders. Parents have become teachers, business owners fought to stay afloat, elected officials have had to prove their leadership, all while those on the front lines continue to sacrifice in order to keep Texoma safe. There are more than 40,000 coronavirus cases in the state of Texas, and it began March 5th with the first positive case in Fort Bend County, outside of Houston. 10 days later, the state would see its first COVID-19 death. Leaders in Wichita County and Wichita Falls began taking action in mid-March, issuing disaster declarations that would be modified over the course of weeks and months as the spread of the virus continued. March 18th, Wichita County saw its first COVID-19 case, a 64-year-old patient who returned from overseas. The next day, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed an executive order directing all restaurants to close their dining rooms and bars to close, limiting businesses to takeout and delivery services only, something that had a devastating impact to small business owners and their employees.
My roommate's a bartender. She works over at Players, so we both technically lost our job for the next 2 weeks to a month, so we're kind of both really scared and don't really know what's going to happen.
The increase in cases caused Wichita Falls ISD and nearly all Texoma schools to lengthen their spring break. And students haven't been back to the classroom since the governor canceled school for the remainder of the school year. Now graduations will take place with social distancing and mask requirements.
They wanted face-to-face. They did not want to do virtual. They did not want to wait until, July or something like that. They really wanted face-to-face, and we did too.
COVID-19 hit Shepherd Air Force Base March 25th when an airman tested positive for the virus. Since then, the base has adjusted protocols to limit and prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus.
We're going to get through this. As long as we stick together, follow the guidelines, and lean together by staying apart, we're going to make Operation Kick COVID a success. And
then tragedy struck Texoma on April 2nd with the area's first COVID-19 death in Stevens County. 13 days later, on April 15th, Wichita County would see its first fatality involving a patient in their 70s with an underlying health condition. The second coronavirus death was confirmed April 18th.
Our staff have worked closely case managing this individual, and so it's especially difficult for the staff as they mourn with the family.
Leaders in Wichita Falls and Wichita County made a controversial decision on April 24th to allow all non-essential businesses to reopen at their discretion. The Wichita Falls Live Safe, Work Safe order also required masks or other face coverings to be worn when inside a business or public transportation. Both rulings contradicted the governor's executive order, causing backlash from residents, state leaders, and the governor himself.
For one, that is not consistent with the order that's currently in place, but also importantly, it's inconsistent with what the CDC has suggested and actually mandated.
2 days later, the governor would make the city-county order obsolete when Abbott announced his phased reopening plans for the state. Starting May 1st, restaurants, malls, movie theaters, and all other retail in the Lone Star State were cleared to get back to business with limited capacity. The reopening process continued on May 8th with barbershops and nail and hair salons. Then on Monday, when gyms were able to open back up. Bars and tattoo shops are opening this week.
We've lost a lot of money, and we have, but, we've been here 20 years. We'll we'll come back.
But even in this time of uncertainty, the community saw several acts of kindness through neighborhood parades, drive-through proms, and even a Spirit of Texoma flyover by Shepherd Air Force Base.
This pandemic is something that none of us have seen before. So it has tested a lot of people, it's stressed out a lot of organizations, and our healthcare professionals have been thrust to the front line.
And through pandemic perseverance, residents remained Texoma strong.